John, that officer shot that teenager right here in the middle of Route 3 last night, and now we know his name is Daniel Dolan. Doctors with the Department of Health say they wish they could vaccinate as many people as soon as possible, but we're just not getting enough vaccine to do that. Things have clearly escalated. As you can see, a Providence police cruiser has been set on fire. Today we heard more testimony on the case of that sunken boat. Nathan Kornman wants a payout, but the insurance companies and the man who sold him that boat say it's his fault. This is all that's left of that trailer that went up in flames overnight here in Hopkinton when they got a notification from their Ring security camera that someone was on their property. When they looked, they saw a man trying to break into their home with a rock and a screwdriver. It's a real game changer for folks who are struggling to make vaccine appointments. Today and tomorrow, anyone can walk up to these mass vaccination sites without an appointment. It was right here outside of our ABC6 studios where 32-year-old Robert Paglarini of Providence was arrested by police after he rear-ended that state rep. Shoppers here at Hobby Lobby in Attleboro were met with this, boarded up doors. That's because someone drove through those doors this morning and drove around inside the store. After the physical comes the donation. With just a little pinch, your blood is collected. The whole process takes just 10 minutes. A life cut way too short.
She wanted to do more. There was more she wanted to do with her life.
It was here on Acushnet Avenue in New Bedford, where 24-year-old Crystal Geraldo was seriously injured Sunday after the motorcycle she was riding on crashed.
Everything horrible that you can possibly imagine comes through your mind. When I called and they wouldn't tell me anything, my heart sank, and I haven't stopped crying since.
Her parents speaking exclusively with ABC6 at the spot where a memorial now lies.
She was an amazing woman.
Loving, caring.
To start in her life, always wanting to help people.
Crystal fought for 2 days, but her injuries too severe.
Her neck and her skull were really bad. They actually dislodged.
She succumbed to swelling of the brain on Tuesday at 11:38 in the morning.
Crystal's parents don't know how this crash happened. What they do know is the motorcycle struck this guardrail and Crystal was thrown quite a distance away.
If it's an accident, it's an accident. But if that person was not operating properly,
not being responsible,
please somebody let us know. Let's let it be known. And if it was just an accident, let that be known.
The driver was a friend of Crystal's and was also injured but is expected to survive. The family is now considering pressing charges as they await the results of the investigation. But they have found some solace knowing Crystal's organs went to 6 people.
I hope one day to meet these people that have either a heart or liver,
lungs.
I'll tell you right now,
spleen.
Whoever has their heart, you're blessed. You're blessed.
Amanda Pitts, ABC6 News. It was here on this porch where 22-year-old Maximus Julian was stabbed. His dad tells me the world is not the same.
It's just a random act of violence.
One that took the life of 22-year-old Maximus Julian, a trap fisherman from Little Compton who was about to graduate from URI with high honors.
I mean, he was a bright light. My world's going to be a lot darker without him. I don't know how to go forwards without him.
Max was at a house party on Thames Street Saturday night when uninvited guests showed up and Max told them to leave.
He always stuck up for the little guy. He was, he despised bullies. He was always the guy that put a bully in their place.
Max's father, DIAGO Julian, says it's that quality in his son that likely put a target on his back.
I guess this got really out of control. When they tried to get it under control, it turned violent. If I know Max, he was in the front of it just trying to keep people from being hurt.
He was stabbed in his neck and chest. Another man was stabbed in his leg. When Max, the youngest of 3, didn't make it home that night, his family thought he was sleeping elsewhere. But they woke up to police banging on their door with the news.
My boy, how do you lose someone that you, from the time he was a baby, you watch him grow, you spend your whole life. I never could imagine something like this. I mean, it was pointless.
Pointless violence. Max was taken off life support yesterday. Now 2 people are wanted in his killing, but any justice, his dad says, won't be enough.
He got himself a new car and all these things he worked so hard for. They're all taken away by some punk who probably never earned a thing in his life. No matter what they do to him, whether they catch him, whether they burn him alive, it won't equal out to the life that they took. Because he was really special.
Amanda Pitts, ABC 6 News. It was August 20th, 1979, and Margaret Pizio was working her overnight shift here at what used to be the Swiss Chalet in Seekonk. But she never made it home from work that morning. She was brutally murdered behind the front desk. All these years later, for her daughter, solving her mother's murder is less about finding justice and more about finding out why.
It would mean the world to my family to just know why.
It was 6 days before Beth Pizio's 9th birthday.
My mom worked nights, and she would usually get home, between 7:30 and 8 in the morning.
That day, the 35-year-old mother of 4, who loved to bake and go to church, never made it back to her home in Riverside.
After, an hour, 45 minutes later than she would have normally come home, we got a phone call from a radio station, actually, wanting to talk to someone about my mom's murder.
Margaret was found behind the counter of the hotel on Route 6 in Seekonk, stabbed and beaten to death. Investigators at the time thought robbery was a possible motive. Margaret had been preparing to testify about a previous robbery at the motel.
If it were just a robbery, take the money, But why the brutality? This kind of violence suggests really strong emotion, and who would have felt that way?
Beth, who's now 50, says she's had no choice but to move on.
I was totally at peace with the idea that it was never going to be solved because, it's been so long. And then, of course, we got the call from the Bristol DA's office.
She was a hardworking woman trying to provide for her family.
Bristol County District Attorney Thomas Quinn started a cold case unit back in 2018. And Margaret's case is one of many dating back to the 70s that they're putting fresh eyes on.
We're going to review all of them, publicize them, and hopefully get some tips on these cases and bring the individuals to justice.
For Beth, it feels like her family's last chance at finding out why.
If they do this again in another 5 years, I don't think my mom's case will make it. So it really feels like this is probably our last shot. The why is more important to me personally than justice. I strongly suspect that whoever did this has probably suffered for it in some way. Because I just can't imagine being able to sleep.
Amanda Pitts, ABC 6 News.